Hello and welcome.
Welcome.
I'm Curtis,
I'm Dakota.
and this is Reader Side Quest.
RSQ.
RSQ. We just finished reading Vial by Carlos Girardo. We don't have the physical book yet. We did order it, but it's not here because Amazon is taking forever. But also, we ordered it and then decided to read it for free on Kindle Unlimited, and we finished this in a day.
We consumed this media.
This was supposed to be our last indie book for the month. We might squeeze one more in. We haven't decided yet. We're tired. We read a lot of books this month. We gotta talk about it still.
It's true. We're not sure yet. To be determined.
TBD. But we did power through this book. So let's just say something about the book that either it's really good or it's trash. And you'll find out in this interview or in this review.
Keep watching and you'll know.
You'll never find out until the last minute. Anyway, let's talk about the cover art because that's a new thing that we do, and I do enjoy that we do that. When is the perfect time to stop aging? Vial. So the one thing I will point out is there is an RV in the vial.
I didn't see that. That's crazy. That's super cool.
I didn't actually notice it either until Carlos commented on one of our things and he goes, no one ever notices the RV. And I was like, damn, you're right. I didn't.
That's crazy. I did not notice that either.
I mostly like this cover art. I think it's a little plain for what it is, but it highlights what the point of the book is. So I guess it does the purpose. But I think if I saw this cover art, I'd be like, meh, meh.
Yeah, the cover art probably wouldn't have drawn me to the book, but I liked the cover art in that like the vial is the center crux of the book, and it's like a nice little visual aid to think of the vial. Like you know that we're both thinking of the same vial because of the cover. You're not thinking of like a test tube, and I'm not thinking of like an antique like vial of like something. We're both thinking of the same vial.
Let's jump into it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Chat, let's do it.
Chat, are we cooked?
Well-developed characters. Our first category. Where'd you land?
I gave it a 1.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoyed the characters. I felt like our main characters had, I think, even more than our main characters. Even like our static characters on the side went through. Well, then it wouldn't be static. Our side characters,
the side quests
had events that they went through at a quarter. Everybody kind of went through something at the same time. And everybody grew from that. And then as things were happening to them, where they had to plan on their trip to go get more vials, and when they did go get more vials, it went wrong. Everybody kind of grew from that, positively or negatively. And I think that even characters that you wouldn't think would get a redemption got a redemption. Or didn't get a redemption specifically, and I think that was good. I think every character was well written. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think he had a really good use of time skips to develop characters. I think it was a really well done use of time skips for character development. That's not the only way his characters were developed, but I appreciated how in the time skips we had very, very easy progression.
Yeah, it was development in those time skips that we didn't necessarily need to hear, but it had to happen.
And he wrote the characters more mature after those time skips in a really tangible way. So appreciated that.
Easy one. Originality and creativity. What'd you give it?
Yeah, I gave this one a 1 too. Unique story. I don't think that we've ever had I don't think of anything else like it. I mean, we have like suddenly we got rid of death, but like the way that the book explores it, it's really cool. Felt really unique.
I think for sure it gave us a 1.
Yeah,
because again, we talked about everything's kind of been written, but you can kind of write things, take little pieces of everything.
Yeah.
This is another take on essentially you take a pill and you live forever type thing. Except I thought the cool thing about this was the vial that you drink stops your internal clock. So you're not like aging internally anymore, but you can still die. You're not invincible. Yeah. You can get shot in the face. You get hit by a bus. You get a blood clot. Healing. Like you can still get cancer, but you're not going to die from like old age. Like you just won't age anymore, which is cool. I think that's unique and realistic as you can be spin on how this would realistically, I guess, if you want to put it, go. So I thought that part was cool, and nobody got like superpowers or something. So it was, like,
it's true. Yeah.
So I liked it.
No superhuman healing, no nanites that keep you from dying.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a point for each of us there.
Yeah, same thoughts. Engaging storyline.
Yeah, I gave this one a full point.
Yeah, I gave it a point too. It kept moving along. It kept me engaged. It kept me interested. I wanted to know what was going to happen, especially when stuff started to go down. It was good. Easy point there. Yeah,
I liked the progression of the story. I think we started out like as a very innocent story, and I feel like it moved on from that very quickly. We went from innocent kids playing tag to the like animalistic behaviors and fall of man when things go to chaos in a still could be controlled environment. Like
It was a
people
good
just
shift,
lose
and
their mind.
it lended itself to his character development really well.
Yeah, I
Really,
thought
really appreciated that progression.
I really enjoyed that as well. But the story end and wrap up. What you got?
Yeah, I gave this one a half point. He just finished writing a second book.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not sure how he intended to wrap this book up, but the characters go on this journey, and the journey feels very incomplete when the story wraps up. When the like main plot is wrapped up and they move away from the main journey that they're on, the story feels incomplete, and I'm not sure like why we had a time skip where we had a time skip there. I was like, wait, we're like wrapping up the story, but then you just time skip before it's like
And like a big
fully
time
wrapped
skip,
up.
and I feel like it's not like sequel time skip. I feel like
Yeah.
it's like a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's like a
But
cliffhanger
why?
or like intentionally left like with no answer time skip.
Or unintentional.
It's true. So the final time skip was a bit jarring, and it caused the story wrap up to feel a bit weird. So half point.
Yeah, for the same reasons, I give it a half point. I think we had. I mean, there's clearly leading into another book, which I'm fine with. But like you said, the 4-year time skip, and it left things unresolved. Like we had
Yeah.
like character interactions that were happening between Mac and our main character, and
Yeah.
then things were like kind of at a boiling point, and then we hit time skip, and it all fizzled out. They even said like, "Yeah, we didn't talk anymore," and then they like immediately got back together when he got back from college. I was like, "But
You're like,
why?"
why did you leave to get? Yeah, a lot of things, so many things happened in this big time skip that were not well fleshed out.
Yeah,
Going to
I think-
college, just lots of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if we just kind of like ran out of time or pages or just didn't want, like it just wasn't relevant in your opinion to the story, but I would have liked to have seen more in that area.
Me too.
Also, since we're at the story end, we need to bring this up now, I think. And we kind of talked about this before. So obviously our reviews are not spoiler free. So at the very end, the Mac gets pregnant. And she took her vial. I think like she was like a junior in high school.
Couldn't have been any older than 16, maybe 17. If she's an old junior,
So she's
probably 16.
stuck that way forever, age wise. Like obviously she's still like alive longer, so she's probably like in her 20s. But physically, I'm assuming she's stuck as 16 or 17. And our main character gets her pregnant, Joe. And I'm like, this is a little strange. And Sam, who's like 14 or 15, is still with the girl that's off screen, Jessica. And she's like physically 20 something. Like, we got weird spec.
It's a really interesting concept because he started to talk about that, like people going to bars and being able to get drinks, and you can no longer tell what people's ages are because their biological clock stopped. So, like, interesting concept, but definitely some uncomfortable situations were presented.
There's a lot of questionably,
as well as like
ickies.
One of the things, I guess, I don't know if this goes here. So when I say go here, I'll bring it up again later if it doesn't go here. The confusing amount of time in time skips. We were unclear on our characters' ages and where we were in like what year it was in the world. Like even, you know what just would have solved it? The years on chapter breaks.
World building and setting maybe, but still, yeah. We can talk about it now. It doesn't matter. This is our chant. We'll talk about things we want.
This is our thing. We do what we do.
Yeah, I felt like I knew what was going on for the most part until like the very end. I was like, now that we've taken the vials, I'm lost on who was where.
I think we both had the exact same final thought. Like I texted, that was one of the first things I said when I finished the book, and I texted you and I said, how old are our characters? What was the final time skip?
So I think Joe was end of college. So he had to be like 22-ish, 21, whatever.
Yeah.
Danny is like 30 something and a old cripple, maybe. Sam is like 14. Mac is like 16.
Billy's
like 12.
At the end of the book, he's got to be like 16.
Well, yeah, that's true.
He didn't take.
I was thinking
vial.
at like the confrontation with Danny and them.
Yeah, he was like 11, 12.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just a little bit confusing in that aspect.
Yeah, like I said, I think what solves this is literally just the year on chapter breaks. Pick a year that the book takes place in, put it in the chapter breaks, so we understand how much time is passing, and there you go.
Yeah, I think we still have questions about the characters after that, but we'll at least know for people who
have
didn't.
A better gauge.
Yeah. We'll have more of a compass, if you will. World building and setting, though, I gave it a 1.
Yeah, we
Even though we
disagreed
didn't
here.
have.
Abnormal.
Yeah, even though we didn't have the year, I felt like I knew exactly where their characters were and what was happening and where they, like, I could picture not just the room they were in, I could picture like the whole town I had down pat when they were in the other towns. And then I kind of felt like I knew what was going on with everything surrounding the vial and like how it worked. And I didn't really have any questions personally about that. So why'd you only give it a half a point?
I feel like I've grown. How I rate books, how I review things has
Nobody
has
listened to him.
grown
He has no idea
since.
what he's done.
I did this because I was giving easy points for books taking places in settings that don't have to be described, and then I was like, why am I doing that? And so this is that. On one hand,
You didn't feel this was well described? You don't have to agree. I'm just asking.
No, I don't.
Because I felt like it
I
was,
think-
so that's why I'm curious.
I think we could have had more world building, and I think we could have had more from the setting. I think at a base level, I gave it a half point because at a base level, we understood the vial and we understood the locations they were in, and they were in like modern America, so that like helps. But
What else do you want then?
I want like descriptions, more descriptions of like the houses they're breaking into. I want to know, I want to see the room in my mind. I want to see the room in my mind. So for setting, I want to understand like where the characters are. That's maybe nitpicky. It's maybe my own personal thing, but I want to, so many authors work hard to tell me the little details that characters are noticing around them, that I enjoy that. But I think in world building, we could have used more understanding of like how old the character, like everything we said earlier, how old the characters are, why they are where they are, how much time has passed. Like our understanding of the world is filtered through these characters, and we're not sure how much time is passing for these characters. So that's like that one's kind of big for me.
That's fair. I just feel like this is like weirdly the first point where like I just don't agree with what you're saying, which is interesting because I felt like I knew every room that they were in. Like I was the character in the room. Like I felt that was adequate, but that's fine. And that just might mean that like it was middle ground, maybe writing, and some people pick it up and some people won't just because of like the verbiage or something.
Chat, is this the beginning of the end? The fall of RSQ?
Wow, we're breaking up right now on camera.
We can't handle it anymore. We disagree.
much.
Yikes. No, just half point for me, 1 point from you on world building setting. On to pacing and structure.
Yeah, I felt the structure was fine. No issues with the structure. My issues with the pacing, and my only issue with the pacing was the back 70% was good pacing wise, but the first 30% was a lot of slow build up of 8th graders playing tag, and it was important to the story, but I don't, because of like later on they're hiding in houses and run, and like you could see how our main character Joe was getting faster and improving, and like how important it was to find hiding spots, and that Mac was on the same level as him. But I don't think we needed like 30%.
Yeah, it's
So
tough.
it's just,
And if I'll play some devil's advocate with our review process,
do it.
I think that a lot of that early 30% served to give us the baseline for good character development and for good emotional impact, to like link us to these characters, to make us see in their lives and feel personable. That being said, I agree with you. And I feel like we saw like hide and seek and tag happen a lot. Like, I don't think we just saw a lot of 8th graders doing 8th grade things for the first 30% of the book. And it was like, we probably could have cut that in half and still had the same like effect. We could have still seen like some family dinners. We could have still seen like the group barbecue. We could have seen one game of hide and seek, and we could have seen one day of school. But we got like a bunch of days of school, a bunch of family dinners, a bunch of games of hide and seek and tag, a bunch of like days babysitting. So these little like slice of life things in this book felt like it jerked on a little bit.
And I understand that there had to be like at least 2 to like show a repetition to say like, hey, this is the usual, this is what happened. We're a small town, we do small town things.
Yeah.
But it was just a little bit much in terms of how much we got it. But like I said, after that 30%, we were flying.
It's true. We zoomed. One day, we read it in a day.
You said one day. Emotional impact? Do you want to start on?
Yeah, easy point here. I mean,
easy point.
We had a good connection to the characters, so it made the emotional impact really simple. I mean, main character's spoiler, his dad dies really early on, and we're connected to him. We're connected to his family. It's jarring. All of the characters go through like a really emotionally impactful moment right around like 30%, 35% of the book, and it's very impactful. Feels good.
Yeah, I felt because his dad died, that was a huge death. I didn't really care too much for Philip's death because I couldn't even really remember who he was.
No.
I was like, whatever. but like a part of their group died, and you could tell like it affected the characters. And then
Yeah,
the betrayals were huge. Danny betraying them, I could see it coming, but
that was
still
a
when it
setup.
happened, I was like, dang, they just finally got ahead.
The
And then
reason he betrayed
also,
them was like, whoa,
yeah, just for a vial. Like I get it, that's the whole point of the book. But damn, Danny, you're a douche.
damn,
But then,
Daniel.
you know what else really was impactful was when his mom told him that it was his fault that his dad died, and his dad wouldn't have died if he would have just been a little shit. And I was like, hey, that hurts my feelings. So
That
yeah, that
makes me
was
feel bad about myself.
I feel less good. But yeah, that was interesting. And I felt like that was easily emotionally impactful throughout the book, but
Yeah,
mainly in that
agree.
point. Writing style and prose, I felt good about it.
Yeah, easy point. I don't really have anything to say on this one. It was good. It
Yeah,
was simple.
it's good. It was simple. Writing style was good, and then the prose was, again, I felt like even though
Digestible.
it was digestible, but it was written. It's hard to write. I feel like from an eighth grader's perspective, or like younger, and I felt like it was done well.
Yeah,
The writing was good.
the prose was one of the surprising things. Like you said, the prose was appropriate at every age of the characters, which is it's hard to do. It's hard to write an eighth grader and a freshman and a sophomore and a senior
In
college student. Like
college, yeah.
it's hard to write it and make us understand and feel like they have aged. And I did every time.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. All right, Dakota.
Meaningful themes and depth. That's another easy point. We've kind of touched on these ones throughout our conversation so far, but we had tons of themes here. I mean,
I feel like the easy one that I feel like we've had in a lot of books we've read recently was like found family. You know, most of these people either lost family or whatever in the middle of the book, early on in the book, and then they'll have a common cause uniting them and stuff to
yeah, overcoming grief,
overcoming grief is a big one.
the whole exploration of should you be immortal? Should you take your vials right away?
Yeah, it was a huge one. I mean, there was Are You Playing God? Like that was a
Yeah,
huge one too.
lots of good themes, and they're well developed.
And then like when you get humans down to like their very base instincts, like do you want to live? And if someone gives you the option but doesn't give everybody you love the option, what are you doing
Yeah, do you still
in
take
that
it?
instance? There's a lot of moral dilemmas which I sweat about and I like it. And then
We like to see our moral
rereadability,
dilemmas.
we do. Rereadability.
Well,
I can't say the word. Rereadability and lasting impact. I felt rereadability. I don't know if I ever reread it, but I felt like lasting impact. I felt like this is one of those books that again I wouldn't think about all the time, but I'd pass by it. I'd be like, oh yeah, like I would like pick back up.
yeah. Same thoughts. This was a one and done book, which is okay. Some books are. I don't think I'd read it again.
And sometimes I
But
want those.
lasting impact, yeah. I mean, it's a unique story. The story's going to stick with me. I'm still thinking about like some of the medical implications of a body clock that stops, but like you don't heal from everything. So
Stay
unique.
beautiful forever. So yeah, that's
it.
that's that.
That's there we are.
I gave it an 8.5. You gave it an 8, so 8.25 RSQ score. That's a pretty good score. I'm giving that
That's,
an easy
that's pretty
4 on Goodreads. And RSQ recommended. I would recommend this to really anybody. This is one of those weird genre things. This is what we talked about too. The beginning kind of felt YA-ish but just because the characters are a little bit younger, but I felt like it very quickly snapped into like this is an
Immatured.
adult fiction story, and
Yeah, I agree.
I felt that's where it leaned towards more. This is like 80% adult fiction, and I felt like it had a lot of to this kind of simple book. I feel like it had a
Yeah.
depth for how simple it was. I
I
liked it.
agree as well. It was a good
So
read.
thank you, Carlos. And book
Yeah.
2's coming out. I don't know if it's coming out actually, but I know that we talked to him and he said that it is in the process of being finished writing, I believe. So that's cool. And keep writing because I think you did a good job. And on that note, that concludes our Vial review.
We read it. We liked it. You should read it. You should like it. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. We don't know if we're gonna do another indie book yet, or if we're gonna take a break at the end of this month here, because it's already the end of the month. And I don't know if we can squeeze another one in.
And we've been reading like Mad Men this month.
I think we counted up, and this is not our official number. We'll probably do a video on it, but I think we finished. It's definitely over 10
It's like
books.
14 or 15 between the two of us. Each of us did a few solo reads, and then we have like 9 or 10 main reads together.
Which is a lot more than we normally read. So I'm mentally very tired, and I want to make sure
Same.
that when I read a book, I'm giving it like
Yeah,
I'm in the right
giving it our
headspace
all.
for that. So we'll see. Maybe we get fidgety, so we might just end up reading another one, or we might not, and it's gonna have to be because
So that's it.
yeah,
We do
that's
what we
just
do.
that is.
We read for you, but we also read for us.
We read for us and present to you. We're selfish, and we like to read for our own pleasure
Which brings us happiness.
most of the time. Anyway, I'm Curtis,
I'm Dakota.
and this has been RSQ, and we out.